by developing. In my country, for instance, we are promoting dual education, which means that it's technical and professional training to become medium class, so to say, middle class entrepreneurs, middle class workers with a specified training to be able to earn life. Ambassador, that's what I could say on those two.
I just wanted to mention 2 or 3 points, and all students should note these, and you have to find the answers yourself. The first is that there are some countries which are not devoting enough money to education.
That's right.
My country, Pakistan, is one of them. We are devoting only 2% of GNP to education, and that is not enough. We would like to see it doubled, but for some reason, too much of the money is going into defense and not enough is going into education and health. So some countries are not giving due priority to education and health. Number 2, other countries are giving a lot of priority to education, but are still not succeeding. For example, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has the highest literacy rate in the world. Number 1 country is Sri Lanka, 98 or 99% literate, and yet they have serious problems because having created education, they don't have enough jobs. And so there has a link between both education and job creation. It's not enough to have education. You must have education with the possibility of jobs subsequently, and Ambassador Zinsou has referred to that. And finally, you have the problem of democratic education or competitive education. In many countries, France for example, education is highly competitive. Only the best go up to the next class. So there is a filtering which takes place. Only the best come out of schools and go to universities. Only the best go up from BA degrees to MA, and absolutely the top people go into the doctorate. In other countries like the United States, education is very democratic. Everybody can go into any educational level. All that is required is that you pay for it. And so if you have the money, you can go and do an MA degree or a PhD degree or whatever. But you have to choose. Do you want democratic education or do you want competitive education? Competitive education gives you better quality students at the top. Democratic education gives you a wider database. These are alternatives to which answers have to be found yourself. We move to FDU at Florum for the final 2 questions.
Ambassador Cabal, Ambassador Zinsou. First of all, before we turn to the questions, I would like to commend you, Ambassador Zinsou, for successfully surviving this grilling session with Ambassador Cabal intact. I would also
He's
like
not
to
quite
mention,
intact. He's not intact.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I would not want to be in your seat. But I'd like to share with you very briefly that Fairleigh Dickinson University has a memorandum of understanding with the African Union, and we're working very closely with Commissioner Eza in Addis Ababa to assist Africa.
Who is from my country? Who is from Benin? Commissioner Eza is from Benin?
Yes.
Definitely.
I greatly respect
a mathematics
yes.
professor of world reputation.
Absolutely brilliant. And we are assisting the African Union with the development of the Pan-African University to increase higher level education opportunities to students from all over Africa. So that is very important to us. I also wanted to mention to you that tomorrow I'm going to be accompanying a delegation of students from both of our campuses in New Jersey to the UN for their General Assembly Conference on Youth. Now, is this the main General Assembly Conference on Youth for this year, or are there others that are planned? And what concrete outcomes are you expecting from this conference?
Thank you very much for this appreciation. As regards the event tomorrow, I'll be part of it as a facilitator for United Nations Youth Conference. It's just an event organized by the special advisor for Africa. It's called, the theme is Youth and the Future of Africa, Challenges and Prospects. And I'll be making a statement there and participating in the debate, in the discussion. This is just an event organized by the special advisor of the Secretary General for Africa, which is totally separate from the preparation of the conference. Unfortunately, tomorrow I was planning also to have a meeting on the United Nations Conference on Youth, but this meeting has been postponed. It will not take place tomorrow. Otherwise, it would have been a pleasure for me to welcome you, because we insist in having civil society involved in the preparation of a United Nations Conference on Youth. This United Nations Conference on Youth is the one which has been decided by the GA while proclaiming the International Year of Youth. And this conference will be held. We are still preparing it. We are now holding briefings, and this is something to which I could invite you. Very soon I will, so to say, inform the member states about a schedule of briefings which will take place in the United Nations, whereby we will invite experts in various fields in the system and also beyond the system to come and explain the challenges the youth are faced with in the world. And this will help us rather assess the implementation of this program of action, which is in force since 1995, and which has been completed by 5 additional issues about globalization. Those briefings are very interesting for us because it will help us assess the situation of young people in the world, and so to say, help us understand what could be the solutions at the global level, because the conference is to strategize at the global level to really solve the problem of young people. And this conference has a theme. It has a theme. It's dialogue and mutual understanding. Dialogue, because we are living in a world where fragmentation is becoming more and more the rule, where each region is trying to find its own solutions, and that is not always, so to say, contributing to having an harmonious, harmonious world and a coherent strategy to increase, to promote peace in the world. We have trends of radicalization that we have to counter, and we need to really bring the world together to solve a global issue by cooperation instead of confrontation. That is the prospect of the conference I'm preparing.
Do you have questions from?
Yes, we do.
Other than that, go ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, my name is Victor Alvarado. I just wanted to know what is the UN doing to provide more student visas for developing countries?
That's a very important issue.
Let's have the second question. Second question.
You always talked about like the different programs the UN was doing for youth, but I would like to know what Benin is actually doing for the young people in the country, and also if you feel that you have done more or less than other developing and emerging countries in terms of programs and education for young people.
Okay, 2 questions.
Yes.
The first is that visas have become extremely difficult, particularly as a result of 9/11.
Definitely.
And so, what are we doing? What is the UN doing to facilitate a problem which is an extremely serious global problem? And the second question is specific to Benin. Benin seems to be a very nice country because it produces excellent ambassadors. And so, what is it doing, not for ambassadors, but for youth?
Before becoming an ambassador, somebody has to go to be a youth, to be a young people, a young person in the country, and make his path to development. The first issue is a very important issue. It's connected with migration. I think we need really to find a global solution to it. And I have been always pleading to have a human relationship with migration. to address migration in a human